Hello and welcome to Comic Solving Problems. I'm N Allen.
And I'm Erich McElroy. Good evening and welcome to the show where we are going to solve all of your problems as only two comics can. Problems such as the culture war that is still taking place in the US over the vaccine after Big Bird announced that he was getting vaccinated. And of course, Texas Senator Ted Cruz jumped right in there and criticized the fictional giant 6-year-old bird, proving that he, Ted Cruz, is the bigger Muppet.
Very good.
As only he can. Only he can. But yes, throughout the show, Steve and I are going to be tackling some of the global problems that are facing us all these days. As you're watching the show, please feel free to get involved. The best place to do that is on the YouTube chat. And the YouTube links are there, so you can subscribe to the channel as well. Of course, if you're watching on YouTube, that means you got to smash the like button. Or just tap it nicely. I mean, we don't, if you smash it too hard, we'll get a bit jumpy and jittery. So don't go too far. But that means if you're watching us, if you're catching us on Facebook or on Twitter or somewhere else, jump over to the YouTube because that's where all the cool kids are these days.
That's where it's at. It's the place to be.
That's where it's at. And if at any point you deem this worthy of your amusement, there is, of course, the Ko-fi link where you could contribute a few pence, poundage, euros. We take it all because, we're not racist towards your money. So feel free to contribute to keep this little project alive and follow us on Twitter and do those all kinds of things. But we don't want to mess about. We want to solve problems. And to solve our first problem, I present to you the man formerly of Late Night MASH, Mr. News Desk himself, the one, the only, Steve N. Allen.
Oh, there's no audience to go cheering. It's terrible to get a build-up and then no applause.
I would do a little build-up there.
Yeah, lovely. Still. Well, I want to solve the problem of political corruption. And I'm not going to manage it, am I? Because there's so much that even what I'm about to do is not covering anywhere near half of what's in the news at the moment. But anyway, there's been some stuff about political corruption. Who would have thought that politicians are corrupt? We've not seen a story this shocking since other classic stories that were shocking. For example, the bear that was fined for public defecation, according to Wood Police. That was quite shocking. And I think the most shocking story would be Pope not circumcised. Other than those stories, the fact that politicians are corrupt is the shocking story that we've been dealing with this week. And let's go right back to the start and deal with what this all is about. Owen Paterson. He resigned as an MP. There was a government U-turn. Now everyone's talking about sleaze. And it started with him doing some lobbying and getting paid by the people that he was lobbying for. That's a no-no. You're not allowed to do that. We know that everyone knows you're not allowed to do that, and yet he did it. And he was lobbying for a company called Randox, one of the companies that he was lobbying for. And you can see there, they were trying to get the health secretary to realise that a good muscular therapy bath soak could potentially... So was that... There's no N in that one. Sorry, that's the wrong one. That was Radox bath salts, not to be confused with Randox, which makes sense because these are Tories. If they're going to give money to anyone, they'd give it to their mateys. Boom! I set myself up for a bubble bath joke. Hell yeah! Anyway, can we actually show us? It was a good joke, wasn't it? Can we show us the proper logo for Randox? Yeah, close enough. So. Randox were lobbied for by Owen Paterson, and they were involved in the testing. Now, that might be good. Maybe they were the people to get this contract if it weren't for the fact that they had no equipment to do the testing. Now, this is why lobbying is wrong. That if you're a company without the correct experience and equipment to do some testing, you can still get the gig. Whereas, because I don't have someone that I can pay to lobby for me in the Houses of Parliament, I also don't have any equipment to do COVID testing. Where's my contract that gives me some money? And this is where it comes. This is why it's corrupt. But anyway, if you imagine there's a company that can't do testing, why would the government pick them? It's the same government that gave out a ferry company to a company that didn't have ferries. It was ridiculous. They gave a contract to a ferry company with no ferries. It would have been a better contract to give to Roxy Music because at least they had one. But anyway, he did some lobbying. and they looked into whether this should be okay or not. He was using the defense of the whistleblower. He was raising concerns about milk and pork standards. Okay. And this is not a good enough excuse, because the rule is you can't receive money and lobby about an issue. So if you are receiving money, just stay stum, because you're not allowed to receive money and lobby about an issue. But if you think, hang on, this is whistleblowing, this is so important to the health of the nation, stop taking the money. It's as simple as that. You could have solved your problem. Oh, it's very important. Is it 120 grand's worth of important? I'm not sure about that. So he ended up breaking the rules. And it's where we need to zoom in on the timeline. You can see that end of October, he was found by a parliamentary commissioner for standards to have breached these paid advocacy rules. Start of November, the suspension was withdrawn because there was a vote in the Parliament. The next day, U-turn. And I believe we can cross to live coverage of the Conservative Party. It's a classic. There it is. And back there. Actually kind of looks like Boris Johnson as well. Cute. Could be his. But anyway, so that was the U-turn's been an absolute mess. It's caused such an issue with political corruption that they had to have an emergency debate in Parliament. Boris Johnson said, bye, because he wasn't around. Bye, see you, bye. He ended up going up north. It's bizarre, isn't it, that he went to do a northern visit on a train ride that took 3 hours. Like a week after he got a private jet to go for dinner. I wonder what's more important, getting back in time for an emergency debate? No, you've got to save the planet and take a train up there. Plus, there's the picture of him visiting a hospital, not wearing a mask. And it's not even the not wearing a mask. It's the walking around with his gob open. It's the total opposite of a mask. He couldn't be less wearing a mask if he tried. I do like the fact he's tucked the tie in, because that'll save lives. But this is it's just a distraction, isn't it? If he walks around a hospital with his gob open, we might end up talking about that rather than political sleaze. It's terrible. And there's more than just this Owen Paterson issue. Boris Johnson is probably using this as a bit of a test to see what he'll get away with, because he's got some issues coming down the line. Yes, we know that there's some questions about wallpaper, but that holiday he was on, when he was doing all the painting to try and look like Winston Churchill? Oh, yeah. And I remember saying at the time, if he's that good at painting, he should have done that on the walls rather than 80 grand's worth of wallpaper. But top coat, make it look good. But he was given that holiday by Zach Goldsmith. So I guess you need to find out how much that costs, because there could be some issues of political bias in there, given that Zach Goldsmith's got a peerage out of it. What's this? Johnson will not declare the Spanish holiday in the MP's register. Interesting. The argument is that you don't actually have to say how much you spend on your holidays, so holidays are a private matter. But when you're given a holiday by someone you gave an honour to, surely then there's a conflict of interest. You can't then use but I was given it and it's up to me what I'm given. That would be the same argument as turning on BBC News and seeing some politician say this. Look, I am simply a fan of and a collector of brown paper bags. So if someone gives me a brown paper bag, doesn't matter if there's cash in it or how much. I'm simply adding to my private collection that Parliament has no say over. And yes, sometimes where I'm given these brown paper bags can look suspicious, namely an underground car park. But I simply enjoy visiting car parks. They have splendid architecture, and there's always somewhere to park. So that's the kind of crap we're dealing with. Look, let's get to the bottom of this. And we're joined by someone who's had a very busy day of doing the media rounds. I'm joined by that MP now. Hello. Hello, Steve, and thank you for inviting me on to clear this matter up. We aren't the party of sleaze and corruption. We are simply trying to improve the standards of our Parliament. And to that end, we have realised the only democratic way to oversee standards is to have an elected official overseeing the MPs. So you have a committee of MPs looking at the standards? Well, we're also not the party of waste. We think it could be more efficient if you have one elected official overseeing one MP at a time. And which official would that be? The MP. See, that's not going to work, though, is it? Well, you actually haven't thought this through. If I were offered lots of money, I wouldn't just take it. I would go and have a strong word with myself to make sure I was okay with what was about to happen. If I am, then jobs are good and the money's mine. If I'm not, I can refer this off to another group of elected officials. And who would they be?
My close friends and colleagues.
God, you see, this is why it's annoying. You are clearly marking your own homework.
You wait a minute. That is disgraceful. We are not marking our own homework. I am a Conservative MP. I went to Eton. We had the poor boys to do our homework for us, and they marked it too.
Do you know what? It makes a very good point. Thank you very much for joining me, that MP. So, I mean, that's barely scratched the surface in some of the scandals and whatnot that's been going on, but I thought we'd give it a mention.
Yeah, it's worth a mention. A couple things to take away there. Some very nice dialogue correspondence there. You had some overlapping argument in the debate between yourself and the MP. It was very well done. And I also like the fact that the MP has excellent taste in shirts. I wonder where he gets those shirts.
Yeah. Oh, it's bizarre, isn't it?
If you know where he got one, help me out with that. And I think with Boris walking down the hospital corridor with his mouth open, can we find that picture again?
We certainly can.
Handy.
It's one that's called Boris Not There. That's what I call it.
What he's doing there is, for those of you who remember, I can't remember which Superman film it was, but it's the original Superman films. There was a bit where Superman sucked up all of, I think, a smoke or fire into his breath. He was like, sucked it up. And that's what Boris is doing. He's going around the hospital and he's personally removing all the COVID.
Ah, I knew he was quite the superhero.
See how cynical you've become, working in the media. Look at that. He's saving
lives. Working for the so-called media, yeah. In fact, this is very much so-called media. It's streaming online.
This is the definition of so-called media. But yeah, it does seem like there's a little bit of dodgy stuff going on.
I'm grateful it's over here in a sense, because it seems like the Conservative Party think, we can absolutely get away with anything. Let's give it a try. Didn't quite get away with it. If this would have happened in America, we all know that the yardstick was Trump shooting someone on Fifth Avenue. So I'm glad that didn't happen, because that would have been a nasty way to find out that there are some limits of what the populist parties can do.
Well, it's been that way for a long time. Dick Cheney shot somebody in the face.
And got away with it, yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, until recently. Judgment has probably happened.
Right. So
whip through some of the comments, shall we?
Yes.
Thank you very much for getting in touch with some of these comments in there. Some people saying hi, Chris saying it's Friday again. For any new viewers, that's going to be very confusing. Very confusing. Keith says, I actually made it evening, guys. Keith, actually watching. Hello. Good on you. Typical, first time I'm late and you're starting on time, just about. Let's have a look. Where we're going. Bubble bath method, says Brit. Nice to see you keeping it clean tonight. Like the Randox, I once did a gig sponsored by Cemex, an agricultural insemination firm, not Semtex, notorious plastic explosive. Don't get those mixed up. Otherwise, that'd be you all over.
Yeah.
Martin S. says, I might see if I can work remotely from the British Virgin Isles. Might get a suntan, sure thing. Poor baby, you said he's like a cute bojo. That, insert rude word here, man could never seem as cute. I don't know, because he does his running, doesn't he? He does his big belly running, Boris Johnson. And if he actually jogged into a debate where he doesn't want to actually have to say something and went blah, 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 and left. Yeah. I don't know. That'd be cute, and also the end of our democracy. The Couch Tripper says, can I just hold you on a minute? I don't know what that means, but yeah, go for it. Press pause if you're watching it on. Yeah, I think we do. We have it set up that you can pause this on the YouTube version.
Yeah, that's right.
What has happened to Des Lynam, says iBogey. He's just available to talk politics, oddly. But not just to me, clearly to the BBC as well. We saw that. With that shirt, I'm guessing the MP has rural constituency, Devon, Norfolk, British Virgin Isles, says Mark Randall. What's wrong with his shirt? His shirt is a beautiful shirt. And surprisingly one he can fit into again. Now he's going back to doing some fasting. Brian G says, I'm not surprised with all the crap the Tories get away with, and I think we are nicely up to date with these. Any messages, you can do it on the YouTube page, which is about there. And if you'd like to keep the project afloat, the Ko-fi page.
Yeah, do that. I mean, the scandal happened so quickly. It was barely even in the news when we did the show last week. Yeah. And they had the vote, then they had the turnaround, and now everything's fine again. Everything's fine.
All fixed. Although I did
fixed.
make a note of that in my thing. I wasn't going to do too many jokes about a U-turn because actually, if your starting position is shit, you shouldn't be told off for a U-turn. That's the arsehole side of the left wing that it resides within me, where you want to go. You were wrong in the first place, and then you did a U-turn. You've got to pick which one you're bothered about. So at least they didn't play.
Yeah, it's still it's a U-turn even if you've made a mistake in turning. If you're driving towards the cliff, you can either go all Thelma and Louise or you can do a U-turn. So the left just drives off the cliff. That's what makes the left always the moral victory with the left, but always.
Yeah. We win the argument, but not the election or anything else.
That's right.
And then we just go and have another argument you can't win within ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What kind of weird people would have an argument with themselves, he says, remembering what the last sketch was. Okay. Well, we're up to date with that one. You can keep the messages coming. Meanwhile, Mr. Eric McElroy, what have you got for us?
Well, this is the problem with Aaron Rodgers. I know, I thought that I'd get that look from you there. So before I go any further, let's make sure we get this in the right category, which is here.
Sports. Sporty sports. Sports.
Hut, hike! That's right. It's American football. What I'm super passionate about, as you know, because I've talked about it. I've never talked about it in the year and a half that we've done this show. So Aaron is an American football player, and I'm saying football, real football, not that soccer stuff that you guys do. Real sport, real football, where you barely touch it with your foot. He's a celebrity as well. He's a celebrity, too. He's not just a football player. He was almost the host of Jeopardy, which is the smart game show in America. He's got brand endorsements. He's a big deal. And on top of that, he's very generous as well.
That's why I'm pumped to share that I've recently teamed with Cash App. They have enabled me to take part of my NFL salary in Bitcoin for the very first time. Bitcoin is a new concept and can be intimidating.
Yeah, it's a big concept. It's intimidating. So the person you want to talk to is a football player who looks like he's just been beaten the shit out of. That's who you want to take financial advice from. He's dressed like a gangster. He's got punches all over his face. Let me talk to you about a money transaction I got going on. It's a really good offer. An offer I tried to refuse, but now they're forcing me to be here to explain it to you. But he's actually trying to be really generous to help people understand the complex issue of Bitcoin, because Aaron isn't just a football player. He's an intellectual as well. And this is how he's going to help people.
So to make it more accessible to my fans, I'm giving away $1 million worth of Bitcoin right now. All you have to do is drop your cash tag below, and we can go to the moon together. Cheers.
Yeah, that sounds totally legitimate. If you just give me your account details, we're going to go to the moon. Wait for the money to roll in. I totally trust the guy. Seems reasonable to me. But let's see, all right, he's going to give financial advice, but does he also give advice about something else that's important, like COVID? He's an important sports figure. He's very famous. He gets asked a lot about where he stands on that. He was asked about his vaccination status a little while back.
Are you vaccinated, and what's your stance on vaccinations?
Yeah, I've been immunized.
Okay, yeah, simple question, simple answer. Are you vaccinated? Yeah, I'm immunized. Yeah, interesting there. Not quite sure he answered the question, but, does he have any other views about how does he feel about other players and their own vaccination status?
Guys on the team that haven't been vaccinated, I think it's a personal decision. I'm not going to judge those guys.
Okay, so he said that he's immunized. He's not going to judge anybody that's not vaccinated. So I'm guessing you can imagine where this is headed. He got the COVID. He got the COVID, and it turns out he was misleading people about his vaccination status, because he's not going to judge those guys, because then he would have to judge himself. That's the problem. Because it turns out he wasn't vaccinated. He considered himself immunized. But you'd think it'd be a simple question, that he didn't answer truthfully. He was provoked, he was dodging a little bit there. So who's to blame for this mischaracterization of the truth? I mean, we all know the answer of that, of course.
I realize I'm in the crosshairs of the woke mob right now. So before my final nail gets put in my cancel culture casket, I think I'd like to set the record straight on so many of the blatant lies that are out there about myself right now.
That's right, because we all know the cancel culture woke mob are famous for shooting people. That's definitely what they do. Not really the gun side of the fence there, mate. We might not give you a mint-free latte or something like that. But yes, the woke mob's after him because, they go after people who pretend like they've had medical treatment and lie to their millions and millions of supporters. That's what we do. You caught me, Aaron. But why he didn't get the vaccine? I mean, he's a fit guy. He's an athlete. He's probably had other vaccines in his life. He clearly likes to do his research, like about drinking while giving financial advice about Bitcoin. So what was it that really had him nervous about taking the vaccine?
To my knowledge, there's been 0 long-term studies around sterility or fertility issues around the vaccines. So that was definitely something that I was worried about.
He was worried about his dick. That's what he is. You want to make sure you get a boner because, you can be a football player, you can be a millionaire, but you can't get it up. There's no point in being a man anymore. So now he's got the COVID. He's going to take it seriously. So what is he going to do? Where's he going to go for solid medical advice? Because he wants to be informed. He's going to go right here.
I consulted with a now good friend of mine, Joe Rogan, after he got COVID.
That's what you do when you get sick, Steve. That's why we're funding calls all the time, because we're podcasters and comedians just like Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Makes us experts in all this. I mean, my phone just blows up. Just like, oh, man, what should I do? Like, give me some Bitcoin, and I will explain to you what you should do. You get sick, call somebody who does a podcast. That's what you got to do. What I love is when he said that. I don't know who these guys are that are interviewing him. It's for their podcast. But when he says that he went to Joe Rogan for advice, just look at the close-up of the guy's reaction when he says it.
I consulted with a now good friend of mine, Joe Rogan, after he got COVID.
And he's just like,
I've been doing...
I'm going to laugh at Aaron Rodgers. This guy might give me some Bitcoin, but he's not going to go to Joe Rogan. So wanted to laugh. So he followed Dr. Rogan's advice. And on top of that, so what was that advice that he got from the podcaster and comedian Joe Rogan to help fight the global pandemic?
But I've been taking monoclonal antibodies, ivermectin, zinc, vitamin C and D, HCQ, and I feel pretty incredible.
Feeling incredible, incredibly stupid. He hasn't been using crystals. That's why he's not going to get well, Steve. This is the cure. That's why I haven't gotten COVID yet. That's where he's gone wrong. Don't take it. But I mean, these guys, why do they insist on taking fake medicine when there is real medicine out there? He's willing to do all of this research and all of these other things. He's able to think that the horse dewormer, ivermectin, is on your side. Do you really think that horse dewormer is on your side? Do you? Nay.
Very good.
All the buildup was to that. I just thought I wanted to say a nay thing, and then I found this Aaron guy and just backtracked the entire sequence.
Is that the final joke? Is that the finishing joke of the bit?
That's the big end of the joke, the bit. That's the whole thing.
Strong. It's strong. Do you know what I love about that, though? I'm fairly sure, and I've not checked, so this is a guess rather than definitely knowing it, but I can't imagine they've done any long-term studies about sterility and fertility to do with horse dewormers in humans. Because why would you? Why would you think, I tell you, we better make sure before we deworm this horse that in case a human takes it on a long-term basis for 10 years, we better check his dong. So, yeah.
But have you ever seen a horse's dick? Massive.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So
they're hung like a donkey, which is accurate.
But they're sensitive about that if they're horses. Gotta be careful when you say that. Right, let's check on the comments here. We got some sports. People are happy about that. Nearly as exciting as quiz time. Almost. I know, that's why we don't do it very often. Football's just camp rugby, says iBogey. Fair enough. Chris Hood says rugby football, not soccer ball, padded, bumping into each other, Mercon ball. I think he's describing it there. Yeah. Brian G called him a John Wick wannabe from that first bit where he was wearing the black suit. Nice. Mark Randall says, having refereed American football for 11 years, I can confirm it is not camp. There we go. There's nothing wrong with being a little camp and sporty. Someone else said, was he in the Matrix? Britt said that. I was going to ask, what team does he actually play for? He plays for the Green Bay Packers.
Does he? Not the Boston Randox?
Nope. Green Bay Packers all the way. Woo! I think. I don't know. I never heard of the guy.
Is Green Bay Packer a euphemism?
No. I mean, it is, but not in America. I don't think we say fudge pecker. Can't remember anymore where I learned that. Why Joe Rogan? Was Alex Jones unavailable, says Mark?
Alex Jones, the leftists, the globalists, and the cellists.
iBogey says, monoclonal antibodies are a legitimate cure, bro. So he says, bro, got me some ivermectin, yo.
Yeah, any medical advice that ends with a bro or a dude.
That's fine.
Not what you want to take, is it? Dude.
Brian G says, Joe Rogan just bombarded his body with everything and anything at hand, LOL. Yeah, that's what you got around. They didn't try the crystals. That's why they got sick.
Yeah, I guess
so. I mean, you
so.
cannot prove that didn't help. I haven't gotten COVID yet, and I've had this crystal the entire time on my desk.
No, I'm sure I can. I'm sure you can prove it by. You don't require you to prove it. You just need other people. You just need to find out how many people have had it and how many people, if there's any correlation with having crystals.
Yes, but I just know.
No, just because I know exactly what crystal people are. Well, you never know, as if that's
you don't know.
Positive.
You don't know. You're just against big crystal.
Yeah.
Big crystals out there. Yeah. Britt says right here, I eat chocolate and haven't had COVID. Britt agrees with me. Legit.
Yep.
Try eating a crystal. Don't try that. Don't try that. Chris Curling says there's probably a focus group looking at this horse dewormer for human use. Probably. Yeah, he's going to sell it. And you'd think an athlete would want to preserve their lung capacity and avoid the effects of COVID. You would think that. But that would require a level, that's Adam that said that, of logic that is clearly not available to my American cousin.
Adam, it's the second word in your comment that shows its own failings. You'd think an athlete would want... Yeah, you would. So you take that out of the equation and all of a sudden, give me some Hursty wormer. It's the same thing. A Hursty Gauser. Just in case you've got a magnetic Hurst. Nothing worse.
Well, yeah, your Hurst might be magnetic after you take the vaccine.
Yeah. Don't insulate your
Hold on.
Hurst.
Hold on. Wait, let me see if I've got something.
Oh, I got rid of all my coins recently.
Wait, just wait. Proof.
Shit. Proof. There it is.
Vaccine. It's because I haven't had my booster.
Yeah, that's the problem with that. Right, you can keep all these comments coming through. There's the YouTube thing is on the screen. I can also show you the Ko-fi link if you'd like to pop some of that dosh in our in the chat. Hint, hint. All right.
It's just like Bitcoin.
On to another problem. I'm not sure if I'm going to manage to solve this again because I've tried to solve it many a time. The problem with Gwyneth Paltrow, because she just keeps coming back with all the news about the bizarre things she says. She's got a Goop website. If you want to lose some serious money on there, it's even worse than crystals, and I bet you they sell crystals. So here's the headline. Gwyneth Paltrow advocating kinky sex in public as she expands Goop empire. Goop empire, not a euphemism. She's not advocating in public. She's advocating kinky sex, and the kinky sex is in public. Just to clarify that mess of a headline. So she's saying, why don't you go and have some sex outdoors? Which George Michael did that in a song. That's fine. But I can't help thinking he was making a valid point about what the police did to him, whereas she's just sat around thinking, how can I get in the papers again to sell some shit from my website? Which is the only reason she came up with the idea of a candle that smells of her foof. Because there's no other reason other than people talk about this. She must have been just freewheeling, thinking, I need to sell some stuff. You buy this candle, it smells like my minge, I don't know. And the next thing she said it, and it's the biggest selling minge candle that there is. This time she said that she's got a range of sex toys, sex positive brand Goop. She's got a range of sex toys that are designed for use in public. Which I presume, like when you have an extension cable that's meant to go outside, it's just thicker plastic, maybe it's orange coloured, it's health and safety, something like that. Maybe the vibrator has a GPS on it in case you leave it, so you can work out where it is. I'm not sure what the details are, but these are specifically designed for outdoor use. She, on her website, will sell you things like whips and chains. Now, the idea of an alfresco frolic is all very well.
Yeah.
But an outdoor whip, it's not going to look like a sex act from a distance, is it? No, whips and chains outside is very much going to get you in prison. That is just having a little bit of a quickie around the back of a tree in a field is a different thing to chaining someone up and flogging them. Good luck following that advice.
It's fun, though.
I'm sure it is. Well, she said that she's now selling remote control vibrators that can be used while couples are out picking up their weekly shop. No. That's the one that bothers me out of all the stuff that I've read on this story. If I'm shopping, I don't want to be near someone else who's doing this bizarre remote control vibrator business. Because firstly, I'll think it's my phone. Secondly, they're going to be... I've already got enough of a problem with people touching the fruit before they buy it. But it's someone, they're just reaching in. Is this kumquat ripe? They're going to end up squidging all the fruit with their dirty hands all over it. And I'm jealous. Go on.
Is that your sex face?
There was a news story about the fact there are only 5 different types of smiles for humans, and I reckon there's a 6th one, and it's that one. God, make it stop. There's that one. But I'm more jealous about the fact that someone gets the remote control. I never get near the real bloody thing. Can't even change the channel. Of course, that is the real downside about this, is if you do get your remote controls mixed up, you're trying to turn up the volume, and all you do is just send the missus off the edge of the sofa. So that's one thing to worry about. She also says in the thing that she warns that exhibitionists could feel the long arm of the law. They'd fucking love it. They'd fucking love it. Someone turns up in a uniform with handcuffs. Oh, that's exactly what they're doing it for. Anyway. If the thrill for you isn't being seen, but instead the idea that you could get caught, the key is to explore the consent of all parties in a way that keeps you safe. So you have to ask the police first.
Yeah.
So, hi, 911, or you do 111, or whichever the one is where you just get through to the 101. Hello, 101. Yeah, I was thinking of bonking in the middle of a field. Is that okay? No, I will be chaining them down and whipping them. Hello, and the next thing you're getting arrested. It was an interesting article. She also said, it's my favourite bit of this one is that, well, she tried a rock and roll orgasm. No idea what it is. Sounds like a cocktail. But it's the kind of orgasm where you wreck a hotel room. But she revealed she took ecstasy with her husband last year. And that's her recent husband, isn't it? Because clearly it wouldn't be Chris Martin, because he strikes you as the kind of guy that if he takes ecstasy, he'd just come up to normal. So basically that's the story done. However, the last time we talked about the Holly Willoughby one, because she's launched her version of Goop, which is Harvest Moon or something like that, and I've launched my own website to try and get in on this lifestyle brand stuff. It's called Stephen Allen's Sparkling Hole, and I can make your hole sparkle. Now, for avid users of my website, you realise for a while we've been doing a newsletter where I actually give you kinky sex advice to then be provocative and hopefully get in the papers. I'll give you a little preview of what the latest email mail out looks like. There's Stephen Allen's Sparkling Hole. This is my weekly sex advice newsletter. Just some ideas. Face-sitting on statues. It's an article about the kinky way to hide Britain's colonial past. Surely that'll get written up in the Daily Mail. There's the new Duke of York Award that we're doing. It's like the Duke of Edinburgh, but the teens get frisky outdoors. And even better than the Gwyneth Jade egg that you shove up your foof, the new mobile phone that you can prison smuggle. And if you're really good at it, you can learn to dial it at the same time. All of that if you sign up for my Stephen Allen's Sparkling Hole website newsletter coming soon, which also is another subject. So we're up to date with what they've
You
been
need
doing.
Aaron Rodgers to endorse your products.
He probably would. I'd tell
He's
him
going to
some
need
Bitcoin in
sponsors
it.
soon because he's going to lose all his major U.S. sponsors.
A little bit of Bitcoin in it for him, a little bit of Dogecoin. I'm getting some of that.
Definitely.
I could
I'm
tell him
Aaron
I've made a
Rodgers.
crypto.
And I approve this message.
Right, let's get into some of the comments. Let's get the YouTube. Actually, we'll do this one. Get the Ko-fi up just in case. Might make some money out of this.
Is there? Yeah. Do you get a free gift from Steve Sparkling Hole if you contribute to Kofi?
I mean, you can get a gift from Steve Sparkling Hole if you want one.
Personally delivered.
Brian G says group goop. Oh yeah, they'll do that, won't they? Flipping group of them. Jack says Dr. Freud asked Steve, "Have you always been obsessed with Gwyneth?" Yeah, because she keeps. Here's the thing: I know she's doing it deliberately to be talked about, but
Yes.
being talked about on this web stream is nowhere near the level of publicity that she's after. So this isn't moving the dial, is it?
Our videos have gotten flagged for copyright infringement.
Yep.
So
Let's have a look. Bogey's still talking about the last topic. Chris says, I tried outside sex once. That's why I'm banned from Tesco's car park.
hey,
Brilliant. Wish I'd have thought of that. Be careful which one you set fire to, ladies. I don't know what that was about. Oh, the candle. I
the
imagine.
candle.
Brit says goop has a naturally goopy consistency, therefore not needing any Gwyneth prodding expansions. Mark says, hearing the phrase remote control vibrators gives a whole new meaning to unexpected item in the bagging area. We're back to avocados and Hulk's balls, says Brian G. Martin S. says Steve was doing a Prince Charles impersonation. When was I doing that? You're right, the sex face. The sex. Yes, one would very much like it if. I can't believe we've not even talked about Camilla hearing Biden's long fart.
I know. Yes. Yeah,
that
I
was
was going
right.
to cover that story, but I decided to pass.
Wind. Nice. The couch tripper says Duke of Pork. You can have that one. Thank you. We'll have that one.
Yeah.
So for Chris Martin, his idea of ecstasy is having 2 sugars in his coffee. Slow down there, Chris Martin. Neither up nor down here, says I Bogey. And Britt says, people won't wear masks to protect the most vulnerable in society, but Gwyneth Paltrow thinks that we'll be happy picking multi-pack crisps and floor cleaner with random things up their wazoo.
I mean, the nice thing about wearing a face mask is that you can have your ball gag in and nobody gives you dirty looks.
Yeah.
I don't. Just a thought.
Just a good idea, that. And then you can have your remote control thing up your wazoo.
Just saying.
Another use for Sillet Black Bang, says Mark Randall, speaking to Brian, which was Brian's one. Glorious sparkling hole. Yeah. It's making your hole sparkle. It's a good title for this kind of shitty website.
No pun intended there.
Yeah.
Being a shitty website.
Sparkling hole. But do you know what I mean? I mean, if someone was sitting around wanting to have their own lifestyle brand that they'll plug on Instagram and it's mainly just bullshit teeth whitening.
Well, you got the TV celebrity.
Yeah, I got the TV celebrity, which we should say keep an eye out because might be appearing on Channel 4 either this Thursday or next Thursday in Complaints Welcomed or whatever that show's called for barely 30 seconds. But the important thing is, and it could get edited out for time. Of course it could. I've seen my work, but it's filmed here. So it's this. You'll see the comic solving problems backdrop, which is absolutely nothing, on telly, hopefully.
So we've been on Amazon.
Yeah.
Now we'll be on Channel 4.
3 episodes on Amazon and now on Channel 4 with this flipping thing.
Telling you. It's happening. It's happening.
Real slow. Real slow.
Yep.
Brian says you'll be able to clean up with that website, Steve. Well, I'll have to. If I'm messing around with this sparkling hole in Tesco's produce section. Do you know what I mean, though? It's bad enough having to deal with just people. But the idea that you could go shopping and someone's been remote control zapped.
Yeah.
The old...
But if you could hack that, because it's probably not very sophisticated Bluetooth, somebody standing on the wrong side of the escalator, just buzz them over.
The only thing, if there is an app that could do that, if I could speed up slow walkers, all of a sudden we're back in the game.
I mean, if you get the setting right, you'd definitely be able to affect, what they're, and they just stop, and then you can get around them.
Steer them off to the left. Hell yeah. Martin Air says would like to see you both on Taskmaster. So would we.
Drop them a line.
Yeah. We are strangely available.
Especially on Tuesdays.
Yep. So I think we're all nicely up to date. Thank you for the comment stuff.
Right.
We've got the
There
Kofi.
Kofi's there. Feel free. We are back. Anything exciting to plug over the next week?
Other than 30 seconds of potential channel forage.
Yeah.
That's it. I got a couple of gigs, but...
Couple of gigs.
Yeah. One in London, one in Maidenhead. I don't know.
Maidenhead. Nice. Yeah. I'm kicking around the London area. I was in Liverpool Sunday. First time I did a gig away from home. So I'm international again. Left the M25.
Yeah, it's getting that way.
So we will be back here next week. And if you are looking for medical advice, please do check out my podcast, Eric McElroy's American Exchange. Because, if Joe Rogan can give medical advice, why can't I?
Yeah. And if you go to my Sparkling Hole website, I'll tell you some crap that doesn't cure anything and tell you it does.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm sitting around here with some pound shop vitamin B crap, so you have some of these.
Just as much efficacy as my crystals.
Magnesium, special magnesium ones. And then this is the proper Barocca one. This is for me.
I've still never had one.
Really? You're missing a trick. This is the Barocca one, and this one pound shop here is for when the missus comes in and says, "Can I have one of your vitamins?" Yeah.
Aren't you worried she's going to watch the show?
Oh, yeah. We'll edit that bit out. This is the good shiz.
Nice.
Holland Barrett ABCs. I piss metal these days. I've got so many minerals in me. You just hear ting, 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 ting. Nice.
Very good. Right. So, on that note, we'll be back next week. Please go back and watch prior shows on the channel. Check out little clips as we put them out over the week and that kind of thing. And subscribe and Ko-fi. And we will see you live right here next Tuesday. Bye.
Thank you for watching this from Comic Solving Problems.
And if you feel like it, go ahead and like the video.
Or subscribe. Commitment.